Colonel Rob Maness has a lifelong record of providing dedicated service to this nation. Having worked his way up from the enlisted ranks to full colonel, he served our country for more than 32 years. He has served as a bomber squadron commander, bomb disposal technician, Joint Chiefs of Staff Operations Officer, assisted the National Security Team with the campaign plan for the global war on terrorism. He authored the first theater nuclear war plan and served as the Vice Commander of America's largest airborne intelligence wing. Colonel Rob Maness is a true American hero. This is Rob Maness Live.
It's so important to our country is to find our disagreements respectfully, because when people stop talking, that's when violence happens.
I've never seen someone do this.
Well, it's a growing trend because people like me are facing violence, assaults, the left. Yes, the campus Antifa. I've been stormed out of restaurants. I've been assaulted publicly, multiple death threats.
Okay, so what's your goal in all this?
There's more people that agree with me than some people would actually believe, and they come out of the woodwork when I do stuff like this. We record all of it so that we put on the internet so people can see these ideas collide. When people stop talking, that's when you get violence. That's when civil war happens, because you start to think the other side is so evil and they lose their humanity.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. It's More War Monday, and we're live on Worldview Tube and our X Spaces simulcast. Well, you just heard Charlie Kirk say it straight. I'll quote him. When people stop talking, that's when violence happens. That's when civil war happens, close quote. And he was right. Bad things happen when we stop talking to each other, folks. Right now, our country is drowning in what my guest today calls a screaming culture, constant shouting, canceling, radical ideologies like Marxism, socialism, and communism being pushed on our young people every single day. And real conversation, well, that's become a rare thing. That's what Charlie used to do. And the division is getting worse by the minute. But there's hope, and it's coming from the next generation. Today, I'm excited to welcome a young guy who's stepping up with a powerful message and a brand new book. I think it's his second one, and it cuts right to the heart of the problem. It's called Make America Talk Again, How to Save Humanity from a Screaming Culture. Please welcome Brylan Hollihan, best-selling author already, political commentator, and at just 20 years old, one of the brightest voices rising in America today. His book is dedicated to his mentor, the late Charlie Kirk, and it's a bold call for Gen Z to reject the screaming, think for themselves, and bring real dialogue back to this country, especially as we find ourselves in America's 250th year since the Declaration. Brylan, welcome to the Rob Maness Show, sir.
My friend, thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this all day. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you actually mentioned, I think it's that video clip that I picked at the beginning of your book, if I remember correctly. Is that something that inspired you to write this book and title it the way you did?
It did, actually. That was the very first ever Charlie Kirk clip that I ever saw. I was in the 4th grade, and Charlie had just been attacked for the first time. He was sitting outside at a restaurant, and this Antifa group surrounded him on the patio and dumped some water on him. And they tried to make this whole big fuss on social media of, oh, look, we caught him. He's definitely going to get scared and run away now and never debate on campuses. And this video was posted right after that of like, hey, I'm still here. I'm not screaming. I have no bullhorn. I'm not dumping things on people. I'm sitting calmly at a table. Come debate me. And that inspired me to start following the guy that became my friend and mentor and inspired this book.
That's amazing because in 2013, when I entered the political arena, Charlie was 19 that year. And when I was complaining to my consultants in the campaign, hey, you're not letting me go to college campuses, they said, well, we don't go there because conservatives don't go there because they won't vote for you. And then I showed them, I found Charlie and showed them clips of him, started following him, and we supported each other quite a bit during the rest of his life. So that's amazing. He's still having a positive effect. What do you see today now that you're almost 21, I'm guessing, if not already? What do you see amongst your generation today? Has it changed since those days? The way college students interact with somebody like a Charlie Kirk?
It has, and it's going in the right direction. I think we're seeing like a revival of Christianity and conservatism, and I think those things are linked hand in hand, thankfully. A lot of it comes from this desire for the truth, and it comes from this frustration with the status quo. Understanding that what we've been told, what we've been given, what we've told is just okay. We need to learn to live with it. Doesn't have to be okay. We don't have to accept a nation in decline. We don't have to accept a society in decline. And I also think that our generation kind of being made this laughingstock of being lazy and neglectful kind of helped inspire us to maybe go ahead and do more right now and not wait for our turn or wait for our seat at the table. And, obviously Charlie inspired that revolution. My story with Charlie started in the fourth grade. I reached out to him. I wanted to start a podcast, but I had this problem. I could not book any guests. And so I reached out to the mayor, the city council. Nobody would respond to me. And for some reason, Charlie Kirk DM'd me back, and I asked for 10 minutes, and he gave me 30 minutes of his time before he gave a debate on a campus back in Alabama. And that just launch padded this whole point of conversations. Now I get to debate on campuses, and I literally, I'm in New York right now, and just had somebody walk up to me maybe 5 minutes ago on the street with a "I want to be like Charlie Kirk" t-shirt on. And he just said, please keep speaking truth, please keep speaking freedom, because it makes it easier for me to raise my hand in class, or for me to say something at the lunch table when a conversation comes up that might be a little hostile. So Charlie ran so that all of these young people can have the opportunity to, follow in his footsteps. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing what one shining example that's done the right way can do, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Just one.
Yeah, I saw that you were on the front page of the New York Post. I think it was today. And, I didn't use that clip, but we're going to talk about that op-ed piece because I think it's very important. What do you think about your generation and the kind of people that a lot of them are voting for now, like this Mamdani guy out of New York City?
Imagine, I'm not the most popular person in New York City this morning because yesterday we had a front page paper where I said that socialism is officially out of style because, as you mentioned, Mamdani was elected through the front door, not snucking in through the back door because my generation believed his lies. Why? Because socialism was just a TikTok trend and a cool experiment with flashy graphics and cool catchphrases and soundtracks that we're just going to try because free things sound great, right, Rob? But it goes a little bit further than that. What I called out in that piece that made so many people upset, and I guess that means it did its job, was that the entire goal of socialism is to make government your God. They want you to put your hands out and get everything you want in life from the government. And you and I both know that that's a recipe for disaster. Reagan warned that the scariest words in the English language are "I'm from the government, I'm here to help." We need to believe those words still today more than ever in 2026. If Reagan thought the government was corrupt back in 1984, just wait till today when we have literal socialists elected into office. But we have to stop the spread before it continues. What I'm concerned about is what happens in the midterms. And if we just laugh off socialism like we just laughed off Mamdani and just kind of made him a caricature and an easy pinata to laugh at, he's going to get elected because nobody's actually calling out socialism. If Gen Z just knows socialism is TikTok, they don't know the truth of it or the horrors of it, they're just going to vote for it and give it a shot because they think it's the first time it's ever been tried. They don't know the history.
Yeah, just before I came on, a little ex-post flew in front of me, and the person was talking about how young people, I'm assuming Gen Z, young people see this Mamdani guy as it's not a big deal, it's just rhetoric. He's just like everybody else. He's no different. Doesn't matter what his religious beliefs are or his political ideology. Nothing bad's going to happen. What do you say when you hear people talking like that?
So I'll just give you an example. I was in New York in January, and it was like, I think 2 weeks into Mamdani coming into office. And I was here to do one taping, and I was going to leave town and get back to class. And I remember talking and the taxi ride from the airport to the studio that I intentionally wasn't going to hit on Mamdani because it would be premature of me. It would be too overreacting of me to attack a guy 2 weeks into the job when clearly, I mean, who could get something done horribly in 2 weeks that I could really attack? And I go to open my car door, this taxi, to get into the studio, and I can't, Rob, because there are trash piled so high that the doors are blocked, and there's two overdose homeless people laying here on the sidewalk. And I just look around, and this is a nice part of New York next to Times Square with these studios for TV, and I'm saying, it's been 2 weeks. And I'm like, surely, this is crazy, but this can't be Mamdani. And so I get inside, and I'm concerned, and I'm checking on everybody, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. And they say, well, yeah, he let go some of the trash people to pay way for some of these free buses. And I think that's what young people need to understand, that you can say it's free, but the money comes from somewhere, and it's coming from your tax dollars. And as we've seen taxes continue to be raised here in the city, and the threat of it being spread across the entire, country, I think a lot of people need to stop it here and not let it spread, regardless of how flashy the TikTok trend is, Rob.
Yeah. I also saw this morning that New York City rents are over $5,300 a month for like a studio apartment. And one of the things that he likes is rent control.
Of course. And they love to get these things in here that sound really good on a bumper sticker, but when you try it out, try in quotes, because it's already been tried, somehow it fails every time. You just can't figure it out. Here's what I want to be clear on. People build rafts out of garbage to flee socialist rent control countries to come to the United States of America. And where do they go, Rob? Oh, that's right. They go to the free state of Florida. They intentionally don't come to the commie state of New York because they're escaping that socialism. They don't want to go back to more of it, and they're certainly not going to vote more of it in. Somebody asked me the other day, if socialism continues to spread, what would be the last state to get it? And I said, easy, Florida. And they're like, well, there's this question that Florida could be purple. And I said, have you been to Miami-Dade County? Because it's full of Cubans that fled the socialist horrific history that's been in their bloodline. They would never, ever give it a chance, regardless of how much you dress it up. You can only put so much lipstick on a pig before you start realizing what's going on.
Yeah, I can see that the Cubans, Cuban Americans that live in that part of the state, building a wall to keep communism out.
I can see that.
Or a moat full of alligators would be more like their style. And quite honestly, that's the focus that we should be looking at in this country is how do we protect ourselves from this where it has gotten a foothold. What do you talk about in your book from the messaging perspective and speaking to each other perspective as to how do we deal with this?
So it starts with education. And I know that sounds super simple, but what I want to be clear is people come up to me all the time, and I assume they come up to you as well, Rob, and say, oh, well, the indoctrination in my schools is so bad. And it is. We're working on it. But if you raise your kids right in the living room before they're indoctrinated in the classroom, half of the socialist threat in this country would be erased overnight. Because sometimes, unfortunately, parents decide to roll over and let the schools be their child's parents. And they shouldn't be in that position, but they're put in the position where the government is then raising your kids. So if the government wants to move socialist, your kid's going to want to move socialist because it's all they've heard for 12 years. It goes back to the 250 a few weeks ago. I don't understand why people were so shocked that Gen Z wasn't singing Happy Birthday to America, as sad as the unpatriotism was from our generation. If we've been taught in school since kindergarten to hate America, why would we suddenly sing God Bless the USA when it comes time to blow up the candles for the 250th? The indoctrination starts it all. So education is the first area that we need to address. But it goes bigger than that. When I'm debating on campuses, the very first thing I try to do every single time is share very clearly that this has been tried and failed before, because majority of people have not heard that. Majority of people didn't learn in history that this has failed. They just learned how to properly pronoun somebody or how to not offend somebody. And the horrors of American history, and not maybe the horrors of Cuban or Venezuelan history, as close as that is to our country. And so in a debate, that's typically where I start. But what I see to be the most effective, and this goes for socialism or not, when it's a hostile debate like this and a hostile topic like this, majority of the time they're already screaming when they come up to the mic to talk to me. And every single time, without fail, we did 10 debates on 10 canvases last year, and it worked all 10 times. I look at the person who is screaming as many expletives about me or my family or throwing things at me as they can, and I immediately start with, hey man, I like that hat, or that's a cool tie, or I love that jacket. Something that a sports team has that we can connect, or a movie, or something where we can see that we're both human beings. It humanizes the conversation to make them say, how could I scream at this fellow human? Or how could I attempt to shoot this fellow human? Or how could I, lunge at this fellow human? We can have a conversation. And guess what? You might leave that conversation still believing the lies of socialism, but we talked. And it's better than half the country is doing right now, where we're screaming at each other from echo chambers and not talking to each other. The third point is the most important. It's getting out of those echo chambers. We can educate people. We can humanize people as much as we want. If we stay in our holy huddle of like-minded friends and just say, well, socialism's horrible, the country's going to crap, I'm going to pray for it, and don't get out on the front lines, whether that means hosting a podcast, debating on a campus, speaking up in your Sunday school class, raising your hand in that lecture hall, sharing your opinion and not rolling over and allowing the socialism to creep in, is how we're going to win.
Be not afraid.
Yes.
God is with you. We'll be right back with Brylan Hollyhand here, author of a great new book. I think it's coming out tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir.
That's outstanding. Great timing. We'll be right back on the Rob Maness Show.
Friends, this is Brandon Howes. For more than a year now, I've been teaching through the book of Revelation, and the response from you has been overwhelming. You've asked me again and again, when are you going to put this study in print? We want to mark it up. We want to share it with our families. Well, it's here. My brand new 2-volume commentary on the book of Revelation, verse by verse, chapter by chapter. This is not a watered down, allegorized replacement theology approach to Revelation. This is a literal, grammatical, historical study, the way the Lord intended his word to be read. And I connect the prophecy of Revelation to the headlines you're watching unfold right now, the rise of global government and the convergence of end-time events the Lord Jesus warned us about. Folks, we are living in serious days, and there has never been a more important time to understand what God has told us about what is coming. Get your 2-volume Revelation commentary today at worldviewstore.com. That's worldviewstore.com.
As we mark 250 years, what do we see? We see a city of contradictions within a nation of contradictions. We see the wealthiest country in the history of the world, one where children go to sleep hungry, while the world's first trillionaire hungers for more. We see monopolies that dominate every industry and oligarchs who buy elections. We see masked agents terrorizing our streets, eating food cooked by our undocumented neighbors before spiriting them away in unmarked vans. We see a nation whose immense wealth has been built by those with calloused, dirt-streaked hands, those who toil on factory floors and chisel into stone. And we see a nation that has allowed so much of that wealth to be held instead in the soft hands of a precious few.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show, and we're talking with Brylan Hollyhand today. He's author of a great new book, folks. You need to get out there and get it because it's out tomorrow on July 14th. And Brylan, where will folks be able to find the book before we dive into that speech there from Mr. Mamdani?
Amazon, it's Make America Talk Again, and your audience can pick up their exclusive copy. It's $16 on Amazon today, so we're running a sale to make sure that everybody can get it. And if it hits #1 today, we will beat the Dems and knock them off the bestsellers list. So everybody, Amazon, type in Make America Talk Again, it'll be delivered right to your door.
That's a great title, too. I love it.
Thank you.
So right there in that clip, we saw Mr. Mamdani, who did that speech a couple of days, I think, before the July 4th, but then he put it out again on July 4th, the afternoon of July 4th. He's sitting at a desk that was used by George Washington at some point. The symbolism is he's got several women around him that are wearing hijabs. Everybody knows that Mr. Mamdani is a devout Muslim and a communist. I call him communist because the distance between socialism and communism is so short, you can get there in a blink of an eye, Brylan. So don't take any offense to that. But then he goes through in a very calm way, and he tells a series of lies about the United States of America, ranging from you. At the end, he talks about, calloused hands that built the country, as if you can't be successful to beyond your wildest imagination if you work with your hands in this country. That's the one that really gets me when I see that clip, is that one right there. We all know we have poverty, we have kids that, and we have food programs for kids. We probably have the best feeding programs for children in this country of any country in the world. Spend more on it for sure. But the thought that he is sowing the seeds to young people that they can't be successful beyond their wildest dreams if they're part of building the country, that just blows me away.
And I think somebody challenged him to maybe give the most doom and gloom speech in Independence Day history, and he definitely won by a long shot. Listen, I didn't sign up for somebody that became a U.S. citizen 7 years ago to lecture me about how bad the U.S. is. He was welcome to join any nation to run for office in any other nation. He chose to run for office in this nation, then sit there and lecture us after he got his citizenship in this country. I think what he's got to understand here is really, really simple. The United States of America is the greatest nation on the face of the planet, not because we're ashamed of capitalism, not because capitalism is evil, as we've been taught in school, but because we're grateful for capitalism. There is no greater anti-poverty economic system to pull people off the streets into the workforce, into their home, to start a family, to start a thriving life from the bottom to the top than capitalism. And there's no other system that he could present, socialism, communism, that would perform better. Okay, let's say you throw capitalism out. There's not a better system that would organize families than faith, that would build communities. Not a single government program could build communities better than faith could. But he says we need to put faith out and let the government control your lives. And everybody in your audience knows that's simply not true, Rob.
You're right. It's simply not true. This guy is a man that advocates for taxing wealthy white neighborhoods, I think were his words, not mine, on the campaign trail at a rate higher than anybody else, especially people of color. And aren't those a lot of the people that are making all the money, that are paying the taxes that keep New York City running? I mean, if I were there, I'd be looking at moving.
And they are. And I think that's one of the reasons that, New York City is on one of its last legs, as they continue to leave, because he's running all the people out that have kept the city's lights on out to the states like Florida. Why? Because there's freedom there. And I don't think that he understands that America is equivalent to freedom. It's not running alongside freedom. It's something that is an unalienable right here with this nation, not something we're going to have you give us if we're good and we keep our air conditioning down, like you tried to say the week before, or if we're good and we follow your tax program. So a lot comes from this mindset that somehow the government that he's running should be the God in your life. And when he understands that we're just not going to buy that, I think a lot more of this will make sense to him.
Yeah, and corruption and fraud, where do we find them the most? We find them anywhere where government is touching something. And the bigger the government, the more of it you find. And we can go into that. We got a question in the live audience. Let's go ahead and take that. Shell is our hostess over there. Go ahead, Shell.
We have AJ, sir. Thank you, Shell. Thank you, Colonel Ryland. It's a pleasure. My question is, have you received or experienced any sort of negative pushback from prominent conservative figures in regards to what you're doing, given the fact that once we lost Charlie, other prominent conservative figures tried to fill that void? So the question is, was there any sort of pushback or talk that, hey, Ryland, you're a young guy, just give it a few years, we got this for now, and just relax a bit, buddy, or anything like that? Thank you very much.
Of
Thanks,
course.
AJ.
Thank you for your question. The answer is yes, and it's happened multiple times today, just here in New York. Oh, wait your turn. Oh, wait till you lose the baby fat. Oh, wait till you get some more white hairs. All of those have been said to me already today, and I believe it's 3 p.m. So it's just kind of a sad state of affairs, and those are people that should be on our own side. Here's what I'll say. You can be a bold conservative without being a bitter one. And if we truly are the big tent party, we should welcome everybody. And if I'm going to be told to wait my turn and allow the older generation to have their time run out, just look at the halls of the United States Senate for why that's a horrible example. We respect our elders. We appreciate their service. We don't want to see our U.S. Congress turn into a hospice center as it currently is, where our United States senators are being wheeled around, their staff's voting for them, they're telling them what to say. So I absolutely want to sit at the table alongside them, to learn from them, not to be lectured at by them and to be told to wait my turn, because they've had their chance, and I'm trying to fix the nation that they broke, is my response to that.
Yeah, that's a great question, AJ, and I love your response, Ryland. I was 50 years old when I ran for U.S. Senate the first time, and was told by Republicans, you need to wait your turn. Ooh. Now, I'd already started going gray and served my country for over 32 years, almost died a couple of times serving my country, and sacrificed, many, many years of going to war to try to save this country and keep the enemy out after 9/11. Changed our entire worldview in our lives. Anybody that was on active duty on that day and went on to be a senior officer or non-commissioned officer. So I'm not a believer in telling people to wait their turn. I'm a believer in finding and letting the shiny pennies float to the top and highlighting them so that they can go on to do better things. I mean, think about the ages of the men that wrote and signed the Declaration of Independence. Many of them were in their 20s, and very few of them were my age. Now, we need us. Benjamin Franklin is one. Elbridge Gerry is another. We need us, but we also need young minds, especially, that are willing to help us shoulder the wheel.
Absolutely. I mean, our nation was founded by young patriots, so it's not like a crazy novel concept that young patriots would still be involved today. And I think that young people looking for motivation, for example, for a place, should look no further than some of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, the fighters on the front lines of our American Revolution, or the framers in the First Continental Congress, who literally gave you the rights that you're so blessed to have today. I literally had somebody today at lunch here in the concrete jungle of New York City, one of these people telling me that I should wait till I get my gray hair, lose my baby fat, wait my turn, I guess get old, wrinkly, decrepit in a wheelchair before I should run for office. And they literally looked at me and said, well, you upset people too much. You ruffle too many feathers. And honestly, like, there's just too many people upset with you with a target on your back. And I said, could you possibly just explain to me who some of these people might be? And he said, well, the socialists don't really like you. And I said, I'm sorry, do they like you? Because you must not be doing a good job if the socialist wing is in support of you, or at least is not going to touch you as you're not talking about them. So some of these people just don't want to rock the boat. And I'm sorry, Rob, but I'm here to rock the boat, because I will not hand my children the same country that I've been handed. I can promise you that. And nobody can hate me more than I love this country.
Well, it's time to fight. That's why I wrote my first book, which came out a couple of months ago. It's over my shoulder. It's called What You Can Do About It. And the first question I ask people when they get upset with me, you mentioned them earlier about, well, we're overwhelmed or we can't do this or that. First question I ask people is, especially if they're a parent, is when's the last time you went to a school board meeting?
Exactly.
When's the last time you went to a city council or a town hall meeting or a county commissioner or county supervisor meeting and just listen for a while, but then speak up, have a plan to speak up when you see things that frustrates you and those kind of things. We got to take another break, Brylan. When we come back, we'll hear from President Trump about this communism thing.
Take a look at the water you just poured. It looks clean. It tastes fine. But what's really in it? Lead, fluoride, arsenic, chlorine, pesticides, PFAS forever chemicals, pharmaceutical residues, and bacteria. Every single day, these toxins flow straight from your tap into your glass, into your family. It's time for Sentry H2O from Worldview Water. Sentry H2O is the ultimate water treatment technology, designed to remove harmful toxins, balance your water's pH, and enrich it with essential minerals like calcium and magnesium, the way nature intended. From commercial-scale systems to whole house filtration to crisp, delicious drinking water right at your kitchen sink and shower, Sentry H2O delivers cleaner, healthier water everywhere you need it. No plumber, no tools, no plumbing knowledge required. Perfect for homes, apartments, rentals, RVs, refrigerators, and more. Because everyone deserves access to clean, healthy water. Visit worldviewwater.net. That's worldviewwater.net.
You can be loyal to Karl Marx, or you can be loyal to America. You can be a communist, or you can be a patriot. You cannot be both. As for those who peddle Marxist lies about our heritage, tell our children that we live on stolen land, or that our heroes were oppressors, they're doing something much worse than slandering our past. They are slandering and attacking our future. Not going to let that happen. They're trying to tear down the great American character, to destroy the people who declared independence, who crossed the Delaware, who settled the West and conquered the skies. You know who those people are. But we will never let that happen. Our American ancestors did not shed their blood at Concord and Trenton, Gettysburg and Shiloh, Midway and Normandy, just so that a band of thieves, radicals, and lunatics could come in and loot and pillage our nation. Our heroes died to win, build, and to save, and to build truly a great country, the greatest country ever in the world. So on the eve...
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. It's More War Monday, and we're talking about the war within, because we are in a conflict within the United States of America. As even though we have to have our armed forces be facing outside constantly and strong, we have to strengthen ourselves on the inside. And my guest today is Brylan Hollihan, author of the new book, Make America Talk Again. Official release date is tomorrow, but it's on sale today at Amazon. Make America Talk Again. You know, I sped up I sped that audio up just a little bit because there was a lot I wanted to get in there. But when the president said you can be a communist or you can be a patriot, but you can't be both, did that resonate with you?
It did, big time. And I think, honestly, as somebody that's been at dozens of the president's speeches and has heard hundreds of them, I by far think that might have been one of his best. The base of the Mount Rushmore, the eve of the 250th, and the number one goal in his mind is crushing the commies. I mean, I can't think of anything more patriotic than that. The past few years has definitely made some of our founding fathers roll over in their graves, and that was a moment that they were all like, we're proud of this, and I thought it was very cool. The patriotism in me was riled up, and I'll say that needs to be our movement's MO going forward, going on offense, okay? So I'm from Tuscaloosa. I'm born in a college football town, and I like to give college football analogies to people when I debate on campuses. They might not understand political jargon. Everybody understands some basic football. You realize that you can't win a football game by sitting on the sidelines, just like you can't save the country by sitting on the sidelines. You can complain, you can make excuses, you can pray, you can do whatever you'd like until you step off the sidelines and say, I am going to get on the front lines. That's how you save. And it goes even further than that. You can't win a football game by just playing on defense. For decades now, the Republican Party has said, we're anti-commie. and then we run away the second the heat comes on us. We have to be more than just anti-commie. We have to come out and make a battleground strategy to beat them before they win over our generation. That's what the president laid out the other night. That's offense, and that's how we keep winning, Rob.
That's exactly how we keep winning. That's why I have a lot of confidence in these midterm elections coming up. Not a complacent type confidence, but when I see that this president, for the first president really, I think, since Ronald Reagan, called out communists individually and ideologically, to remind the American people that we have lost many lives defeating communism before, and that we have this threat. For him to actually use the word, I think, goes a long way to defeating that threat in very short order, because we have to recognize that there really is a threat, and that there is a real problem with this ideology right here growing up in our country. And the youngest generation is the one that has to know it the most. Well, we've got some more questions in the audience. Let me take one of those real quick. Go ahead, Shel.
We have Liz, sir.
Good afternoon, Colonel Raylan. Wow. First, I want to say, Raylan, as a United States veteran, the average age of people serving our country are your age. So if you're old enough to die for your country, why are you not old enough to speak out against what's going on in our world? And I thank you for doing that. My other question is, are you being sponsored to take these trips? Is anybody helping you financially to do this? Or are you doing this on your own? Or are you with TP USA? And would you ever run for office yourself?
Well, I appreciate it. I'll take the last one first. So I will just be honest with you. I'm a Southern boy. I don't really hold my cards very well, and I'm not good with a poker face. I have no interest in running for office right now. If you would have came to me 10 years ago on the playground in the 4th grade and said, would you have an interest in standing toe-to-toe with potential assassins on college campuses and debate people, I would have probably said no then too. But the honest answer is I don't plan to run. Right now, I love getting to do this, and I feel like I can do more right now. I think I've spoken with 8 elected officials so far today in D.C. to talk about different pieces of legislation I'm passionate about, different people I think that should go endorse in different races, helping out some with some of our situation in South Carolina today. So I think I can do more behind the scenes, getting people ready to run, getting people the truth on campuses than I could by the limits of an elected office. And if you want an example, look no further than my buddy Charlie, 31 years old, never touched elected office, inspired a generation to follow in his footsteps, and he packed a stadium for his funeral. I've never seen a president pack a stadium for his funeral, so that was pretty cool. As for who's sponsoring or funding or anything like that, you know, Turning Point is obviously a friend of mine because Charlie was a friend of mine, and so a lot of the places when I go to debate happen to be Turning Point chapters. Turning Point, you know, hasn't paid for that. You know, there's no travel, or I don't take money at all for doing that. That's Rob knows there's very little money in this business if you do it ethically. The only people that make politics, you know, a money-making business are some of the crooks. And so we haven't taken a paycheck. I just get to go and debate for fun because I think it's important. And so the book or anything like that, it's the only way I ever make any money. And then, you know, I absolutely agree with putting your life out there as the front line of defense. And I think young people have to realize if we're going to be draft age, absolutely be voting, because you sit out one election and you vote a warmonger in, or you vote somebody in that's all war happy, and with Kamala we would be easily in a crazy world war right now, probably with Russia, then we'd be the ones drafted and I'd be in the cold, you know, Russian, you know, tundra right now. So it's important to vote, as Rob can attest.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Brylan, because, you know, one of the reasons why I ran in the first place was that one of my 3 top planks was end the endless war policy. And that was all the way back in 2013. We could see it. And I had just left the military, and I had seen it while deployed in combat, that the strategy wasn't there at the point that I was leaving the military. And we shouldn't be leading with our combat power in combat to try to get nations to side with us. And that's essentially where I thought we were. And this president that we have today ran on that too. I see him today as trying to end two wars. One, the Ukrainian one, he had nothing to do with starting and probably wouldn't have started had he still been in office. And then the Iranian war on us and on the West that they started in 1979. And I get this question 2 or 3 times a day, depending on how many times I'm getting interviewed on radio shows or TV or whatever. And that is, well, do you think this war is going to last a long time? Are we back into another endless war and all that? And I have to have confidence in the man that I helped get elected the first time in the general, and then in the primary in the general the second time, reelected in a historical reelection, really that was nearly impossible by modern standards. That he's going to live by the what he believes in, and what he says he believes in is that we shouldn't be doing that in a permanent or semi-permanent way. We should get the job done and then get the heck out of there and take care of America's interests first.
Absolutely. And obviously this comes up on college campuses almost daily. As you can understand, Gen Z's a little frustrated about how long this has gone on. And my biggest response to that is, what did you think Peace Through Strength was? Did you think it was vibes? Did you think it was tweets? Did you think it was strongly worded statements with a frilly pen? Because that's what it's been in the past. But Peace Through Strength meant wiping out the Ayatollah, arresting Maduro, and making sure that America was no longer going to be trampled on. Is it taking longer than expected? Probably. Is it necessarily, something that America is in any way degraded by? Definitely not. I mean, you look at the nation, not even 2 years ago, we had topless LGBTQ activists parading across the White House lawn, Rob. And today we're smoking terrorists who were chanting death to America and building a nuke to wipe out your one-day grandchildren or children. And I think that that's a little bit more fair use of taxpayer dollars than what we previously had. Just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And stopping these wars will put us in a position of where we can make ourselves strong enough again so that we can do the things that we did with the Soviet Union, which is bring them down without firing a shot. I mean, I was pulling nuclear alert in Strategic Air Command the day that the Berlin Wall came down, and we got an order from the President of the United States, a direct written order that said that nuclear alert will be ended, gave us the timeline and how to do that. And I never thought that I would ever see that in my lifetime. And we were not in a war at the time that happened. We'd had some conflict like Desert Storm and those kind of things, but we weren't in a major peer-to-peer war, and weren't even looking at having to be one, because President Reagan's administration had made us so strong that wall came down through the work of their people instead of having to be blown down.
And it didn't happen overnight, and it certainly took a lot of hard work to get to that freedom. And obviously that's the end goal for the Iranian people. And I definitely don't think, America should get in the position of, necessarily being the peace force of the world to the extent of being there for 20 years, like an Afghanistan situation, or nation building for time and time again. Or like you said, starting endless wars. We're a generation that wants to move away from that quickly. And I think you look at who started that movement of the Republican Party, it was Donald Trump. If not, Jeb Bush would have just finished his second term. And who knows how many wars we would have gotten into with another Bush, Rob. So concern definitely would have been had there.
That's right. We could see it in my Senate run in 2013 and 2014. We got a lot of positive response with that plank in our platform. And I knew when Trump came down and he had those two things, securing the border and stopping illegal immigration, and stopping the endless war policy and becoming strong again to ensure the peace and deter enemies, that he was going to be onto something. And he was. Well, we've got to take another break, Brylan. It's our last one. When we come back, I want to talk about Christianity and what it means, how you talk about it, how you address it in your book. We've got, I think, one more question from the audience we'll take in this last segment. And I just think it's very, very important that the American people, no matter what their backgrounds are, understand what made that declaration such a force for good that led to the constitutional government we have While freedom is always under stress, it's here, and it'll be here to stay as long as we, the American people, stand up and fight for it. We'll be right back with Brylan Hollihan.
At a certain age, you stop chasing younger. You start protecting what helps you feel steady, strong, and well. Your body's collagen matters. It supports the structure of your skin, joints, and connective tissue. But as the years go by, your body needs more support from the inside. That's where Bella Grace Elixir comes in. Bella Grace Elixir combines Verisol collagen, the world's most clinically proven collagen, with Asteryl astaxanthin and cat's claw in a proprietary blend designed to help support the processes that reconstruct collagen, while also offering antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. And this isn't just for women. It's for men and women who want to age with more confidence, more care, and a daily wellness routine that supports the body from within. One simple elixir, thoughtfully formulated for whole body wellness. Take care of the body that has carried you this far. Order Bella Grace Elixir today at melissahousebg.com.
I'm not political, all right? I don't believe in Republican or Democrat because it's not in the Constitution, it's not in our Declaration of Independence. It's just American, one nation under God. Whatever they do as one. The trick is to give us the illusion that there is a choice, that there is a separation, to keep us fighting over these things. These things right here. Keep us not talking about the fact that we're working harder. 5 generations now. We're working harder than our great-great-great-grandparents and our grandparents did, who had no education, who sent their first generations to college. We were on our way somewhere, and then something happened in the 50s. One of the big things I think that happened is they took the Bible out of school. People don't know, a lot of you young people don't even know the Bible was curriculum. And I'm not religious once again, but the Bible gives us a strong moral code to live by. We were family. We were community. We knew our neighbors. Our children played outside, met new friends. Those new friends wanted to spend the night, and they had to ask their parents, and their parents became friends. Today, mom's in the park on fentanyl, and we think they give us this propaganda about it comes from China, it comes from here. They didn't want this stuff in this country, it wouldn't be here. This is a weapon against us. There is an attack on all of us, red, blue, conservative, liberal, it doesn't matter. The American is under attack. Our dollar is buying a lot less. We're working a lot harder for it. We're losing our constitutional rights, whether you realize it or not.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. We're live on World YouTube and our X Spaces simulcast. And my guest today is author of his, I think it's your second book, right, Brylan Hollihan? Author of his second book, Make America Talk Again, officially releases tomorrow, but it's on sale today at Amazon. Just typed in Make America Talk Again. And Brylan, that clip, when I came across it, at first I was like, I wonder where this is going. But then I realized that gentleman, he thinks like I do. I think from the perspective of what I call Americanism, a phrase that was taught to me by a good friend of mine that wrote a book about the road to Americanism that led to the Declaration of Independence, in that we're all Americans here, and something changed. You know, he pointed out the Bible used to be part of the curriculum, even though he's not religious, he said, but it was important, and those kind of things. And how important is it today, and can we do it? Can we bring that back so that our young people, and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the generation after you. That's the one I'm concerned about the most right now, is that how can we put those items back into the minds of these young Americans as they grow, so that when they're your age, it's instinctive of what it is to be American and how to fight for it.
Yep, we absolutely can, and we absolutely should bring it back. Why is my generation the most suicidal, the most anxious, the most confused generation? Because since birth, we've been told to live our own truth, to live off the government, to follow what feels good, to follow the trend, not to follow the Creator. AKA, Rob, we've been told to fill this God-shaped hole in our lives with anything but God, by the schools, by the governments, by culture. So what's the surprise when we look around and say, well, where's God? Well, we've been told to take him out of everything, so the world's crumbling, as was predicted. What a shock. No, I think absolutely when we took God out of schools, we saw the schools crumble. When we took God out of government, we saw the government crumble. If we look around today and start putting Christ back in the center of it all, I think that's how we rebuild. The number one scripture that I share when I'm on campuses, when I look at somebody who's young and they're lost, they don't know where to get started, and they feel like there's no place for them in this country, in this government, and any movement at all, I look at them and share 1 Timothy 4:12, and it reads, "Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech and conduct and love and faith and in purity." Rob, this is our commission. We're called to go out there to be the salt and light of the earth. And my favorite scripture, the scripture that's inspired me to keep going, is one that thankfully was hidden in my heart at a VBS years and years ago. We did those Bible memory drills because there was a moment specifically we were planning out the campus tour last year. We were going to debate on 10 of those campuses where I'm sitting down and I'm with my team and we're looking at, okay, could we go to this campus? If we go here, could I make it back by this exam? Which 10 are we going to do? And I'm brand new to this whole orbit of security. I wasn't familiar with this. And maybe the first or second day of having a security team on the job, I barely knew their names. They walk into the room where they plop down a 3-ring binder in front of me on the table. And my naive, gullible teenage self says, "What is this? Is this the homework that I missed?" And they said, "No, these are the death threats you've gotten in the last few hours. We just wanted to make you aware." And so I'm sitting there looking at a list of campuses that I could debate on next to a list of the death threats that's, stacked high that I'd gotten. And I remember walking out of the room and pacing back and forth. And immediately I try to remind myself of this 1 Timothy quote that I shared to, upset young people on campuses. And it's just not clicking, like it's not working for me. And I'm walking. And my first thought, Rob, honestly, was, okay, this is it. I'll step away. I'll walk out of politics. I'll hang my hat up. I'll go back to the safety of just being a normal college kid. We won't have armed guards walking with me to class. I can go have free weekends with my buddies. Life will get simpler. Somebody else will fight this fight. They've got this. We're good. And thankfully, that scripture memory from VBS, however many years ago, was hidden in my heart of Isaiah. And you know this because it's in the book. Isaiah 6:8 is a verse that I now quote almost daily on TV and speeches. And it's, "Whom shall I send?" And Isaiah responds, "Here I am, send me." That's the call to your audience. That's the call to this generation. That's the call to that young man there in the clip you played. Here I am, send me, not just if it's going to be safe or if it's comfortable, if I don't lose friends or if I don't make enemies. Here I am, send me, unconditionally surrendered to God. That's our posture.
Yeah, absolutely. We share that. It's in my book, too. I've lived by that my entire life since I was before 17 years old and enlisted in the United States Air Force. And I know many, many others that have lived by that and continue to live by that. That's why I'm doing what I do now when I could be out in the pool, sitting by my pool right now, or out on the beach in my front yard. But what we're doing is setting that example. And from both ends of the age spectrum, and that the example is that as Americans, Reagan said it best: we don't get to pass this freedom, American freedom, from generation to generation. We have to teach each generation what it takes to defend it, and they have to pass it to their children and grandchildren. And this is a perpetual struggle. It's a perpetual set way of being, and it's why we're Americans, isn't it?
It is. And in Reagan's farewell address, this is one of my favorite patriotic stories I shared in a speech on the 4th this year. He was talking about some of, his favorite moments, the shining city on a hill imagery, this Morning America painting that he loved to portray as president. And this one story stuck out, and it was as this Japanese sailor comes in this raft and interacts with an American military man, and he waves at the boat and says, "Hello, American sailor. Hello, freedom man." If we truly are going to continue to have this world image from the founders to Reagan to Trump today to whatever happens next of the freedom nation, of us being freedom men and women, it's going to be fought for, not passed through the bloodstream, and it takes every person in your audience fighting for it.
You're absolutely right. We got one more question. Let's take it from the live audience real quick. Go ahead, Shel.
We have Marilyn, sir.
Thank you, Shel. Good afternoon, Colonel and War Eagle to Brylan. I have two quick questions. The first being, how receptive are the historically progressive campuses to you coming to debate on campus? And my second question is, my daughter will be attending Auburn beginning this fall. And how can she become more involved in support of your efforts at Auburn? Thank you.
Let's go. That's awesome. This is my favorite question of the day. This is perfect, Rob. You set this up. This is definitely a paid actor. He just wanted me to leave here happy.
No, just chance.
I love this. First of all, War Eagle, man, thank you for listening. Thank you for putting up with me for an hour. This was very fun. That's so awesome. Makes my day. So I'm a Tuscaloosa boy who's a convert to Auburn, and if that tells you how much I love Auburn, if you know anything about football rivalry there, that's how important it is to me. She's going to love it. She can have the best time. If I can help at all, my contact information is on my website. We'd love to help her. And I definitely think it's important that she gets involved in the Turning Point chapter there on campus, meet some people with the CR chapter. There's so many Republican chapters, and the Turning Point chapter at Auburn's campus is one of the largest in the entire country. So there's just a tidbit for that. And there's also a great political science department at Auburn if you want to take any classes for that. Auburn aside, because I can go on that for the next hour of this show. The progressive campuses definitely, as you can imagine, are a little less receptive than when I spoke at Auburn's campus. But I will say this, the only one that I've been allowed to speak at so far was Harvard. And we've successfully done 2 Zoom-in speeches at Harvard. That's as much as they will let us do due to safety. We Zoomed in and spoke to both of the political schools there. And it was a blast. I had the best time. But what I took away from that was when you can humanize people and bring them down to looking at you like a normal guy and have a debate with you, we could actually get somewhere. Now, it was right before the 2024 election, and I don't think I converted a single person from Kamala to Trump, but I went there and I talked. And who knows, maybe somebody did convert, but we had the conversation and we weren't afraid to go there. And I think that's how we start, because you could tell when I started my talk, they had in their head this caricature of this boogeyman who's going to come in and be all serious and in their mind take away their rights and have all these, rhetoric to spew. And when I came in and I was laughing and like checking in on college sports in the area and all that, they had no idea what to do. It completely disarmed them. And the first guy came up and he had like an Indiana Jones hat on, and I cracked a joke about it. And he dropped his notes. Like he completely lost every train of thought of however much he prepared with his rant, whatever he was going to pick apart. Like everything was gone. And he was like, he left the debate. And there's a quote in an interview he did with a student paper about it, where he was like, he wasn't as evil as a man as I thought he would be. So I'll take it. That's not necessarily a raving endorsement, Rob, but as evil as a man as he thought I was going to be is all right for a progressive campus. So we'll take it.
Oh, absolutely. Look, when I ran for office the first time, they have a jungle primary in Louisiana. I live in Mississippi now, but this jungle primary, all candidates, regardless of party, are on the same ballot. So you have to go ask for votes. And you showing up, you nailed it. It humanizes you. And it gives people that oppose your views the opportunity to see you in real life, as they say. Hopefully, we can. I'm a graduate and alumnus of the Harvard Kennedy School. I would love
That's where I spoke,
do. I would love to do a live in-person forum event with you. I'm going to reach out to some of my friends. I still have friends that are from that school. Now, we don't agree on a lot anymore, but I still have friends. I'm going to reach out to them if you're willing to do it. Maybe we can do an in-person forum event at the Kennedy School, because that's a whole different experience for the students and for the individuals that get the opportunity to do that. I would love to do that. And I'm in Gulfport, Mississippi, as you know, Brian.
Perfect.
So,
yes, sir.
I would love to see you down here. Maybe we can do a campus event, and we'll have to find a progressive campus maybe we can go to in the area sometime if you're around. I really would appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing the book. Thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for getting in and staying in the fight and encouraging others to stay in the fight. I'll give you the last word on where they can find the book.
Well, thank you for having me. It sounds like I'll see you at Harvard sometime this fall, and I look forward to it. And all of your audience can get Make America Talk Again by typing it in Amazon right now. It's on sale for $16 today only. And if you get your copy, we're on track to be #1, which means we take the Dems off the spot on the bestsellers list. And a 20-year-old young MAGA teen could be #1. And I think every exploding head here in New York City would freak out, and the media would not know what to do with that. So if you want to make history with us, Make America Talk Again at Amazon. The fake news media will hate you. It'll be awesome.
Thanks, my friend. I appreciate your time. I know an hour is a long time, but you're a great American, and you are the cavalry. As I tell my folks, the cavalry's not coming for you. You're looking at the cavalry when you look in the mirror. Thank you, sir, so much, Brian.
Thank you, Colonel.
All right, folks, tomorrow's Training Tuesday. I'll have Chad Caton, political expert from South Carolina. We'll be talking about the tragic loss of Senator Lindsey Graham and the political machinery that's already at work to see who the next senator from South Carolina is going to be. I'll see you then on Worldview Tube Network.
At a certain age, you stop chasing younger. You start protecting what helps you feel steady, strong, and well. Your body's collagen matters. It supports the structure of your skin, joints, and connective tissue. But as the years go by, your body needs more support from the inside. That's where Bella Grace Elixir comes in. Bella Grace Elixir combines Verisol collagen, the world's most clinically proven collagen, with Asteryl astaxanthin and cat's claw in a proprietary blend designed to help support the processes that reconstruct collagen, while also offering antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. And this isn't just for women. It's for men and women who want to age with more confidence, more care, and a daily wellness routine that supports